So again, we start the taping process. It's going to be a little trickier than the last one I showed you because we are trying to flatten the tail. So what you got to do is keep the tail at your angle so you can see where you're actually flattening it. With this finger here, my pointer, I'm flattening that tail so you can see it's taking the angle away. It's naturally up here. When I pull this down like that, it actually gives it more room to flatten. When you're lining up this tape, make sure you overlap from one piece to the other because it does make it more rigid and it won't allow any flexibility. So again, pulling with this forefinger right in here, overlap that. Try to get that shoeing tied in nicely. Again, can't stress enough about bad habits. And this part here, as you can see the skew in it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the piece of tape, attaching it to the first one. Okay, now I straighten to the position I want to put that tail in, and then slowly tack it on. As you can see, that wow is pretty much gone. Same here. That's going to flatten it there. Just follow the contour of the tape. So again, using that pointer finger, you want to kind of try to align the same angle of the shoeing, which it seems to be right there now, and tie into that shoeing. The next step, I'll just pull this front cushion forward before I kind of set that tape into place, because you need a flat surface for this. And what I like to do here is, as you can see, the tape is not fully intact, so I like to place the bird down, and then with my hand, because it's a soft surface, it allows me to use the flex of the tape and get it into all the corners. Typically a harness like this will last, roughly about a week, I would say. So, I mean, I've seen certain birds go with a harness like this and it would stay on them for a couple of weeks. Now back to the flattening. First I start with the large piece. This is why I use this wide tape. Because it is a skewer, you don't want the tips going through the feathers, protruding through the front. You can ruin the tail quickly. So what will happen is when you put it on here, that wide tape band will not allow it to go through. So basically when it comes off in a full, the harness comes off complete all at once actually. So what I do is I grab the one side, put it down, so now that skewer is set on one side. And if you look at the angle in here, what you got to do to make this tail flat is you got to clear that void. I don't know if you can see that, but that void between the tail. Once that is flat, what I like to do is just push the skewer aside, and it will show you the natural position to make this thing flat. Once you tack it, it will not move. Secure the other side. So now you can see that tail becoming much flatter. These little guys, I overlap them, give it more rigidity, and it kind of all interties, so it can't move. Again, a tail is just, the way I think of a tail is basically like your arm. If you were to hold your arm up for a week and then somebody came up to you and told you to drop that arm, it's not going to happen. So your arm has been so used to being in that position. And the tail is the same way. The tail muscle can be trained to be in the position you would like. So now I've got my harness all intact, and you can see how much flatter that tail. You know, you turn it on the side there, it's just about flat. Now this may take a couple of times. You You might have to reset it, and the tail's going to become flatter and flatter. It will help on top tail for sure, because again, it's not going to have that chance to bend. It can't bend in any way, shape, or form. So I'll just secure everything, put the bird, and presto, you can see now in that photograph, or this video actually, that all of a sudden this bird has top tail. It's a lot flatter from the side. From what I could see here, it's going to have to probably be done a couple of times to get it completely flat. Again, the image you want is when the bird turns on a side profile, that tail, you just want it to look just like a line. Once you take this harness off, what will happen is that the shoeing feathers touching down will curve back a little bit, but those side feathers will stay exactly where you placed them. In the front view, you could see it spread out that tail, gives it the appearance of a bigger tail. Nice, full, and round, and that bird's pretty comfortable in the center of that pocket. It doesn't find any discomfort with the tail pulling to one side or the other.